And as we listen to the sound of the bowl, allowing it to open up our heart space as we open up our minds, letting go of all of those things that we did before we got here, releasing all of those things that we have to do when we leave, and being present right here and right now for all of the beautiful gifts that this time together brings. And so it is.
For inviting me to speak again, and I just want to say, you look marvelous. Remember that on Saturday Night Live, as Billy Crystal used to do the Fernando Lamas character, and he said, you know, darling, you look marvelous. And as you know, it's more important to look good than to feel good. Well, I don't know about that, but you look marvelous, and I hope you feel as marvelous. So do you remember, has anybody seen the movie, The Big Lebowski?
Yes.
Yeah. Does anybody remember the character in there? The dude.
Yes.
If you know the dude, then you know. Dude abides. Dude abides. And you know that within us, we have something that abides. Within us, joy abides. We have a bliss field that abides. We have a quality of innocence, our primordial innocence that abides, that it's always there. It's our original software that we come with. But over the years, we get all kinds of viruses and things like that kind of cover up our software. So, joy abides. Now, what does that word abide mean? I looked up that word and I found two definitions. The first definition was to be able to live with or to stand. So if you can't abide something, then you cannot live with it. If you can abide something, then you can live with it. The second definition that I found was to live, to continue, to remain. So our joy and our bliss field and our innocence lives. It remains. It continues. But we lose touch with that. So I'm going to be brief and I'm going to give you 3 ways that I stay in touch with that. But before I go into that, our mind, we have to talk to our mind. I know it sounds crazy. Because the job of our mind is to do what it thinks you want it to do. So that means we have a job also. And our job is to give the mind, to tell it what to do, to give it clear instructions, to paint a picture so clear that there's no room for misunderstanding. Now the brain and the mind are different. The brain loves change. It has that neuroplasticity where it's able to change. You're able to make new pathways. Like if you're walking a pathway and it gets run down to a rut. Well, you can leave that pathway and you can go to another one. And you can start a pathway there. So we can make new pathways to the brain. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but as I said before, I don't know about dogs. But I know about humans. And God gave us that ability to change. So as we, over time, take on all the muck and the guck of life, all the trauma of life, and we lose touch, and we lose our ability to trust that we can go back to that. We can regain that. We can find our way back to the joy and the bliss and the innocence that abideth. Dude abides. Joy abides. Now, what about happiness? There's a subtle difference between joy and happiness. So happiness is that thing that, it kind of comes from the outside. So you can get something or see something or have something that just makes you happy right there in the moment. But that joy, you can have that joy that is there even when you don't feel good. Even when you had the trauma, it's there for you. And you can find a way back to it. So one of the ways is through intention. Everything is based on intention. Intention is that thing that brings us to clarity. When you make your decision about what you're going to do, it's that clarity of vision that enables you to negotiate life, to navigate. Because when you make an intention, you've made a decision. And when you make a decision, when you label something, you're signaling to the universe that this is what I want to create. And energy follows intention. So, and it's been proven that when you set an intention, you're more likely to get that thing that you set your intention for. So intention. And the second thing is presence. The art of bringing your awareness into the present moment. You know, it's through our 5 senses that we access our 6th sense. And in order to access your 6th sense, that means you have to be present. You have to be aware. You have to be fully connected into the moment. And that's a challenge when you have all this stuff going on around you. Now, one of the ways that we can become present is through meditation. Meditation defrays your nervous system. It brings you all the way back down to your original software. It enables you to come into that state of detachment. So, and meditation bridges the gap between right brain and left brain. Our right brain is that part of us that is the totality, that reaches out, that encompasses all. The left brain is the part that is like the individuality. It's about me, it's about solving problems, it's about getting to it in the most linear way possible. So with meditation, you bridge those two, and you're able to do kind of a creative problem solving. It's bridged by a thing called the corpus callosum. And the corpus callosum bridges those 2 elements. So being present is the second thing. The third thing is surrender. There's a lot of energy and power in surrender. Surrender is your ability to just let go. Just let it all go. And be able to, when you let go, you become vulnerable. And for me, you know, we hear talk in certain religions about circumcision. So with letting go, you are using your superpower, first of all, of elimination. So that you can eliminate from your life that which no longer serves you. And with surrender comes that ability or decision to live in uncertainty. That you're not going to be certain of what's happening, what's around the corner, that I want this and I want it now and I want it this way. You're going to kind of live in that uncertainty. So being able to let go is kind of like, and also forgiveness comes into that whole realm. So the circumcision I'm thinking of is the circumcision of the heart, where you're able to peel off that outer layer. Peel off the rancor and the bitterness and all the recriminations and all the grudges and resentments that you're holding on to. And I know what I'm speaking about. Because right now I am working, I do a meditation each morning. Because I was holding something against a couple of people in my life. And I didn't want to admit it. But when you do that, you know, what you do in private, it shows up in public. And so I do this thing I call blessing ball of light. And those very people, because Catherine Ponder says when you in a state of unforgiveness and when you have somebody that you don't like or you hate, you have created a cosmic link. Well, we're cosmically linked anyway. But it's like when you have strong emotion, that cosmic link is tighter and stronger like steel. And so I do this blessing ball of light and I say, and I picture those people, and I have to do it one by one. And I picture those people and I look at them in their face. And I say to them, I love you and I bless you with pure love and light. I forgive you and I let you go. And I ask that you forgive me and you let me go. And I forgive myself. Because forgiveness basically comes down really to forgiving yourself. Because when there are two parties involved, there's stuff on both sides. And so I ask to see myself fully. A little bit at a time. I can't take too much of it. Give me little pieces so I can deal with it in that way. So surrender. Also, I was watching this video, Bruce Lee, where he says, he's talking about being like water. He says, be like water, my friend. Be formless, be shapeless. When you pour the water into the cup, the water takes on the form of the cup. When you pour the water into a bottle, the water takes on the form of the bottle. When you pour the water into a teapot, the water takes on the form of the teapot. And he says water can flow or it can crash. Be like water, my friend. So that you can flow, you can bend with the trauma. You can bend with the wind. You can take on whatever comes and it'll roll over your back like water. My daughter was telling me one time when we were having this big windstorm, there are some trees that were across the street from our house, and the wind was blowing so hard, and she said, Mom, the tree bent back like this. Let's just think, if that tree was not able to bend, it would have snapped like a twig. So in letting go, in forgiving, and in letting go, you take on the most powerful aspect of yourself, to be able to surrender. Now we come to the other parts of this, because I said it was going to be brief. To be able to, when you are present in the moment, whatever it is that you do, you're giving it all your attention. So, getting to that thing about happiness and joy, joy abides. Happiness comes more from the outside. Joy and bliss is there on the inside. So if you want to reach for something, you do those things that kind of wake you up, that kind of bring you back into the moment, that make you feel that joy. So whatever creative pursuit you have, if you like sewing or dancing or singing or speaking or painting or cooking, you give it all your attention in that moment, and you bring yourself into the present moment and soak up all the joy and all the happiness. So I'm going to ask you to do something. Movement is another part of it. Movement. When you see animals in the wild, say that the gazelle or the antelope is running from the lion, and the lion is in full pursuit, and then the lion and the gazelle or the antelope is lucky enough to get away. The gazelle or the antelope gets over somewhere alone where the lion can't see him, and they shake. Because their nervous system kicks in and discharges that energy. So we have that ability to shake it off. I was watching this Chopsaki movie, and this guy was going to the doctor's office. And he was like really sick, and he says, Doctor, I'm really sick. I don't know what's wrong with me. And the doctor picks him up and shakes him. And then throws him across the room. And he just says, well, sometimes you have to shake things up a little bit. So, movement. So, I'm going to ask you to stand for just a moment. These are a couple of things. Mary knows we do a couple of things we do a couple of things in our yoga class. Thank you. Thank you. We do a couple of things in our yoga class called shaking it off. So the first thing we do is you shake your hands. Just shake them off. Like you're throwing them away. Or like you washed your hands and there's no towel, there's no paper towel, no nothing. You just shake them off. Let those wrists go. Ask your wrists to let go. And when you do this sort of thing, it kind of oils your joints. It releases what's called synovial fluid in the joints. It also can kind of shake off the rust and the calcium deposits. So imagine whatever rust or calcium deposit, it's shaking off. It's shaking off right now. And bring it down. Take a deep breath in. Open your mouth, exhale. Now I'm going to ask you to bounce your shoulders. Bounce it. Can we bounce it? Bounce it. Bounce it. Bounce it, just bounce it, bounce it, bounce it to the right, bounce it to the center, bounce it to the left, and bring it back to the center. Now just bend your elbows and swing. Just swing your arms. Just swing your arms, swing your arms, swing your arms. So sometimes you have to kind of reach for the happiness that you need. Sometimes when you're in your downest moment, you have to find a way to move. You have to find a way to let yourself go and bring it back to center. Take a deep breath in. Open your mouth, exhale. So, Mr. Professor, if you please. Happiness is a decision. It is a decision. It's not something that you can wait on. You have to make a decision. And when you make that decision, the universe meets you where you are. Come on, y'all, let's move it.
Releasing this breath, knowing that there is only one power and one presence in the universe, and that is God. And as each of us takes in all that we have learned today, we take it in, we make it our own, and we simply live from those very truths. We give thanks for all who have participated today. We give thanks for the message, the centering moment, the affirmative reading, the beautiful music, and just all of the beautiful energy that each and every person has brought into this space and into this place today. And moving forward, knowing that joy and bliss abide within me. That there is a space and a place where joy and bliss always are. Yeah, there are some things that will make me happy for the moment because somebody gave me a beautiful diamond ring and it just creates this wonderful happiness. But that joy that has always been there is always there and available for me. So I set my intention. I fall into the present moment. I surrender and I just let it all be joy. So I release. I let go and I let God. And